Hello, everybody. Steve Pelican being joined by Gerald Broussard. New Orleans Bowl coverage. Louisiana's Raging Cajuns and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles in the 2016 Oradell Carriers New Orleans Bowl tomorrow night. Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. G, yesterday you told us a little bit about what to expect from Southern Miss from an offensive standpoint. Defensively, what do the Golden Eagles bring to the table?
Yeah, these guys give up some points, Steve. One of the guys to be looking for Southern Miss is a kid from Westgate, New Iberia. Denarius Antoine's his name. Went out of high school, went to Trinity Valley Community College in Texas, ended up at Southern Miss. Good player, first-team all-conference player for him. Plays a strong safety, DB, nickel, hybrid kind of guy. Southern Miss defensively is going to be very multiple. They're going to go from a three-man front to a four-man front, back to a three-man front. They mix up stuff in the secondary. They don't play a lot of press man, or I haven't seen them. They may try to do that against Cajuns. I think if they do that, that's a big advantage to the Cajuns. I think right now, just watching them on film, I think the thing that I've seen over for Southern Miss's defense is they missed a lot of tackles. I mean, there are opportunities, especially the guys in the back. I think if the Cajuns can get into the secondary, there's an opportunity to make a lot of plays. Not a big blitz team. They're going to try and get some pressure. They have a couple guys up front that have been, can be a bit of a problem, but I wouldn't say that they're any better than what the Cajuns have faced in the Sun Belt. I think that this is a defense that would rank probably middle of the road in the Sun Belt, to be honest. One thing I think to watch for out of it, when Southern Miss goes to their three-man front and tries to get pressure on the Cajuns in a pass rush situation, they like to walk their linebackers up. But they do something that you hear all the time about offenses picking. It's a pick, because in offense will call it a rub. Defense calls it a pick, offense calls it a rub. And where the receiver will run his route and crossing another receiver, and the guy who's kind of getting away of the defender a little bit, sometimes he might even turn his back on him and say, "Oh, I didn't see you, didn't mean that." He meant it, but he didn't mean it. But now in looking at watching Southern Miss on film, they'll get their three-man front, get their nose guard down there, walk a backer up right next to the nose guard. And that linebacker's not trying to rush the quarterback. He's trying to hit the center. And he's going to hit the center, knock the center off, try and drive him, wrap the nose guard around to try and get him free, and then come off of the center. They like to do it against the center because there's a stagger between the center and the guard. So it exposes the center. When I say, I'm talking about a depth type of deal. So they're going to walk their linebackers up, both of them, opposite the nose guard, and they're going to do what's called picking. They don't grab them. If you grab them, it's a penalty. If you pick them, it's not a penalty. And they are trying to free themselves up, but they're going to try and hit the center, free up the nose, and then free themselves up. So watch that if you're up at the Superdome or if you're at the house and stuff. Just something that they like to do. And as an offensive line coach, I used to think, man, that's cheating. But it's not cheating when I was on defensive line.
How you know all of that?
Just because that's why you asked me.
Before I let you go, to close out this segment, you mentioned that they miss a lot of tackles. Are they at least in position to make tackles? In other words, how do they stand from a speed standpoint, or can they get in a position to make tackles?
Well, we talked about the comparison between the two schools. They're very athletic. They're very similar to Cajuns. Now, Cajuns have a very tall secondary for a secondary. Southern Miss may not quite be as tall, but they are very athletic, and they are in position to make. Surprising that they miss as many as they. And I kept just watching them, and I'm thinking, these guys are better players. And maybe they just had a couple bad games that I watched. I don't know. But I think that if Elijah can get loose in the secondary, I think he can make some people run through some tackles. Same thing with the Cajun receivers. I think they can run through some tackles. So, I think that it plays well for it. We talked about Southern Miss's offense. We talk about their defense. Defense gives up some numbers. Offense puts up numbers. Defense gives up some numbers. So it could be a high-scoring game.
Ought to be a fun game at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. That's a look at the Southern Miss defense with the G-Man.